Welcome to Building a Worm Bin with OKC Beautiful. Vermicomposting is a great way to take your food scraps and create nutrient-rich compost. Before we start building our bin, we are going to prep the materials. First, we will start soaking our coconut fiber, also known as cocoa peat or coir. This material is made out of coconut husks that are ground up. When soaked in water, the coconut fiber will expand and will create a soil-like material that forms great bedding for worm bins. Here you can already see it start to expand as water is added. We will want to mix this up and then let it sit for at least an hour. Now it is time to start constructing our bin. We are using a 12-gallon bin for this project. First, we are going to drill holes into the bin. This will allow airflow into the compost. Oxygen is one of the elements needed in order to create compost. Next, I'm going to add a thin layer of peat moss to the bottom of my bin. As I prepare my materials, I will add water to a small container. I will use this to dip in newspaper strips for an added layer of bedding. It is important that our layers stay damp while building the bin. Next, I'm going to tear newspapers into 1-inch strips. These I will then soak in water. You could also use shredded paper instead. Now we have all of our materials and can start building out the layers of our bin. We will start with a layer of coconut fiber over the peat moss. First, we will drain out any excess moisture. Then we will sprinkle over a fine layer until there is about a 1/2 inch of coconut fiber covering the peat moss. Now we will start soaking our newspaper strips to create another layer of bedding. You will continue to lay over newspaper strips until there is a finished layer over your coconut fiber. You will repeat these steps until you have around 6 to 7 inches of layering within your bin. Throughout this process, you will want to make sure that all layers remain damp. Now that your bin has been constructed and all layers are complete, it is time to add the worms. These worms are called red wigglers. They are a great option for vermicompost. We ordered these online, but you could also borrow some from a friend who has a worm bin. To add the worms in, we will dig a small trench down the middle of your bin. Now we will add the worms to their new home. A pound of worms is estimated to be around 1,000 and is a good starting number for your first worm bin. Now we will cover your worms back up. Worms are photosensitive, which means that they don't like the light. We recommend for the first day or two after building your bin to leave the lid off and a light on. This will help your worms burrow and get acclimated to their new home. Worms can eat typical kitchen scraps like fruit and vegetables, coffee grounds, tea leaves and bags, shredded paper or paper towels, flowers and stems, leaves, and eggshells. You will want to avoid feeding them anything like meat and bones, dairy, preserved food, or oils and salts. When you feed your worm, dig a small hole and cover the food scraps up. You can feed them around a pound of food per day. Happy composting!